Buenos dias, señores y señoras. Here is David Kapoor, listening to KXLU, Los Angeles. I'm just drawing, having a good time in mi casa, working on some files on some 3D designs. This is what I do. This is a site that we're working on. You can see there. So this place here is got a historic wall in the front that we're modeling, but it's also got this interesting topography along this steep road. So we're taking a bunch of photos of the existing scenario, and we are going to model it. So we're trying to identify these different portions of the lot, as there are 7 or so different pieces. There's this part here that has the nice plants and the historic wall, and then there's this tree, and there's this part with these utility boxes, and we're trying to model those. And this has this beautiful side of the sculpt, so I think we want to keep this part. Then over here is an alley, if you can see that. So yeah, it's this part here on the street view, and it's got this weird slab. So it's really complicated because we got to meet with the city and see if they'll let us put there's technically, this is an alley, and you can see it here. So it goes to here, but it's all sloped up, and these neighbors depend on it. So if we're going to I don't think we can actually complete it as a car alley, although that could help us if we dug it under and get some underground parking thing. We should see if that works. But I'm trying to avoid doing anything new for cars, really, and just keep this existing alley access. We're going to build something new, try and preserve what's there already, but we're going to build new stuff down below, because there used to be one of the oldest houses in the city was on this pad right here. There's the Casanova Bouet, or the Solano Bouet residence. And the wall in front is built with the original stone of the Stone Quarry Flats. That was the original purpose of Elysian Park. I've got this Stone Quarry Hills map right here. And that is when America took over Los Angeles in the 1850s, there was a fire sale of all public land. So they sold all this land here quickly off, and Solano bought these two, and this is where the house is right here. So they tried to make a quarry out of Elysian Park as the first kind of capitalist endeavor, but they quickly realized that the stone is just so crappy. The stone, and you can see the wall here. This is the wall. This is a crappy printout. I guess this is a better picture. But I mean, it's totally worth preserving because it's the original sandstone, but it's really in bad shape. It's really falling apart. So the challenge is going to be to build something here while preserving this wall. And I don't know how we're going to do that, but if we follow the city's recommendation, which is early, so the Bureau of Engineering wants to widen Broadway, right? And it's called a highway dedication because the street is substandard. I mean, it's a huge street. It's got a couple lanes on it. So they want to get rid of that. Or they want to get rid of the wall, widen it 10 feet. And there was a previous development on this site where they widened Broadway, and they leveled the site, and they created these 4 condos that were super generic. But luckily they couldn't get, that was really expensive. So, because this is a massive excavation and building all that stuff, and so luckily now there's an old family who's gotten this, is deep roots in Boyle Heights, and 4th generation Angelinos, who really care about the history here, and they want to keep the wall. That is the goal of the project, and they want to do something light on top. Maybe recreating a house here, but also something to activate this tricky slope. And this is the challenge, is how to deal with this rugged slope. So I'm struggling with that, and of course it's taking a lot more time to model. But I think it's pretty important So just working on that now. Like this is a front yard portion we're trying to create. I'm gonna put that here, and then but maybe working on improving the alley, keeping the slope for ourselves, and creating some sort of restaurant or like little taco stand. They've got a good context with the Lincoln Heights small vendors. It could be a nice activation for this stretch and give someone a profitable place. A T Street in the house. So yeah, that's what we're working on. It's fun, but it's challenging, and I love it. And we're trying to make meaningful places in Los Angeles. We're trying to use history. The history of the site. That's the first thing you gotta know. It's like doing a soils report. You gotta know the history to know the soil before you lay a foundation. It's not just a technical analysis that a geotechnical engineer performs in a lab, It's like a historical analysis and also a knowledge of the people who live there now, and walking the neighborhood, knowing the residents, saying hi to people, getting their stories. I've been around this part of town in this particular neighborhood for 7 years, and my neighbor is the brother of the guy who lives on site now. We're trying to help not mess up his life while we do this construction and preserve that back house somehow. But it's all these things that you need to know and consider if we're gonna build in a meaningful way. If we're not just gonna keep doing this stucco shit boxes that are all over Los Angeles that people are protesting against. They're trying to shut down all development in the city because what they're building is crap, and it's just hyper capitalist. Everything they're building is luxury housing. Everything they're building has no regard for history, or if it does, they build like a mission style place, which is celebrating the genocide of all these native villages that, when the Spanish got here, there was 10,000 years of human history in Los Angeles. People lived in synergy with nature and each other here. They had, in many more ways, a better, more sophisticated civilization and culture, where they lived in synergy with this land and with this climate. And they lived in the river during the summer when it was cool and the river was dry. The wind comes up that. But then they knew to burn their homes. They just had thatch, like tents. They would burn them because insects would take them over in the summer. Like right now, it's May and June, getting into June, and so many bugs. So they would, at this time, after the summer, they'd burn their homes, and then they move up to the hills, and when the rainy season starts. So it's just my goal. I know this is a rambling talk, and it's fun, and I'm just a novice at this YouTube thing, but man, it's like I gotta collect my ideas here, and I don't want to just rant on one of my friends or on one of my family members, which I do all the time. I rant to anyone who'll give me their ear, but I just don't want to over talk to people. And I got so much to say, and I'm struggling to write it all down because that takes a lot of time. But I get a lot of solace from building, from my neighbors, from nature, from the beauty of Los Angeles, from the beauty of plants, from all the conversations that are going on from YouTube, from Twitter, from Facebook. There's like all the people, all the ideas that I've been able to connect with, and the rapid nature in which we're sharing ideas and building a new kind of consensus, taking the power away from oppressive few who want to exploit us and steal all the resources. It's a false narrative of scarcity. There's an abundance in this planet.